Tiff and I celebrated our birthday this past week. Happy birthday, Tiff. It's not like the same. Every time my birthday comes around, you like kind of reevaluate your life. And so I've been thinking about my life choices and stuff. And I feel like midlife crisis is like coming soon to me. But I just hit my 10-year mark anniversary at my work. It's like kind of not cool. They gave me like a plaque. And that's like,
wow.
Yeah.
No raise,
yeah.
No bonus?
No, definitely not. No. So it got me thinking, I just want to share like a little testimony. A testimony doesn't have to be your salvation testimony. A testimony can just be like giving praise to God or saying what God is doing in your life. And so I wanted to kind of share some quick reflections on like my birthday and then also just hitting this 10-year anniversary at my work. I feel that for the majority of my adult life, like God has been taking care of me. That's really how I feel. I think like, when you're young and high school, college, you're like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to achieve this. I need to get this stuff if I want to have a family, things like that. But I think for where I am in my life right now, it's like, yeah, God has really been taking care of me. And I don't mean to say that like, oh, everybody's situation is the same as mine. Like, I'm not even saying that my answer is like, oh, the Christian response, because people have had, difficult lives and stuff. But I think because of what I've been experiencing, like God has truly taken care of my family, and maybe that's really where I'm coming from, is that God has provided for me. And I don't feel that I've been providing in my family in like a way like, yeah, like look at all this money I'm making for my family and look at like what we have. Like, I don't feel that at all. I do really feel that Bible verse about seeking God's kingdom first, and God will take care of you. I feel like that's like a testimony of my life right now. And so I just want to say, thanks to God. That's kind of where I'm coming from. Honestly, like I think the older that you get, the more that you see that life is just God's grace upon you. That's really how I feel. I don't know, man. We work really hard in our lives, and it's not to discount any like work that people do or your parents do. Your parents work really hard for you, I'm sure. But for the Christian, I think we should be able to see evidence of God's grace in our lives. And it's just like God gives us so much, and I think I just want to say just how thankful I am to God for taking care of me and my family. Yeah. Tiff, I don't know, man. Do you have any reflections for yourself?
You told me this morning.
Yeah.
So I didn't have time to process yet. But I think along the same lines, I just feel now that I'm 35 now, and so I'm seeing like, wow, God is so faithful. Like I see where you are right now, and I think of myself at your age, like applying for college and being scared, like you're kind of unable to see the future. And I kind of look back and like, wow, this is the future that I was trying so hard to like plan for and prepare myself for, And I remember thinking like, things like, who am I going to marry? Am I going to have kids? Where am I going to work? Am I still going to be a teacher? Like all these big questions, I think, as you journey through life that kind of create anxiety for you or worry. And then it's kind of crazy. Like you go through it and then you look back, you're like, oh my gosh, like God was so faithful in guiding me through all of that, right? Like I remember the stress I would have in applying for jobs, applying for colleges, SATs, like just thinking like, oh my gosh, like how am I gonna make money? Like am I gonna be poor? Like just like questions, And so I just think about how God is so faithful. And I think in particular, I always think how wild it is that even in terms of work, so if you don't know, there's a lot of budget cuts happening at work right now, like millions, like throughout. And so you might see it in your classrooms with your teachers, like, and so for me, I got so nervous because I see some of my coworkers' jobs getting phased out. And I remember just thinking like, the reason that I got this position is by chance. 7 years ago when I started, my director told me, do you want to do science or do you want to do history? You can't do math because you're already math. And me and my other coworker just like, I was like, science, like it was like, I did not even think about it. And the opportunities that decision created for me, I really think, because I went against the same person for the position I have now. And I think that trajectory to choose science like got me to this position here. and then her job is getting phased out. And I just kept thinking like, wow, God, you're really providing for me and knowing the anxieties of my heart. And in decisions I didn't even know were big decisions, like provided me different paths. And so I think, yeah, as you make decisions going forward, you're going to make a gazillion decisions, and just know each one has been sovereignly paved out for you. You know, in Psalm, when he says, like, I've written the days of your life, and like, it's all been written out already. And there's so much hope and peace in knowing that those have been written out, and no matter what decisions you make, nothing is out of God's will, and it's always for your good and for his glory. And I think, yeah, it's just so beautiful.
Yeah, that's so good. I think I wanted to say that. That's so good. Like, I do feel that, like, you know, in life, as you're going and making decisions about your career, about, you know, your life, who you're going to marry and stuff, you feel like, oh, you're the one making these decisions. But then you look back and you're like, nah, man, like, God has been guiding me to do it. And you don't realize it until you're past it, right? But you look back and you see, dude, God has graciously been, like, directing our paths. Yeah, so thanks, Tiff, for sharing. I texted this to Tiff yesterday, and I was like, I can't, I'm surprised that, what did I say? I said something like, oh, I can't believe it took us so long to begin teaching together or something. And then I said, I can't imagine teaching without you now. You know, so I'm really happy that God even, like, brought us together to teach this stuff. You know, I'm very happy. But yeah, I tried to, like, boil it down to a sentence yesterday, and I couldn't do it. I was like, it's too much. But this is what I'm trying to say. God has provided for me and my family. He did it all for me. He is the worker. He is the giver. And yeah, that's just a small testimony that I wanted to share with you guys. I pray that you guys will see God working in your life as well too, even though it might be hard to see.